I think, I mean, first of all, when it comes to the Millennium Development Goals, they will not be achieved unless there's significant increase in growth in the developing countries. And there's a report that was just produced in the last 2 or 3 days by the Commission on Growth and Development, and it's very, very clear. But I think why we're getting a bit confused because of our terminology here, and we should really make a distinction between what is diaspora philanthropy or migrant philanthropy, which is those who want to become like NGOs or whatever, which I think is a very small part of the piece here. But that's what I think the recommendations that Manuel has just offered are for those NGO organizations that want to be NGOs and you know, apply for funds and partner with development actors and so on. I guess that's what you're referring to, right, Manuel?
Yes.
So then if you talk about remittances, more generally, I think we will get more impact from so-called leveraging remittances if, in Ghana, if you go to Accra or Kumasi, and you see all these big houses, really big houses, huge houses. These are the ones that are built by the diaspora. Now, if we wanted to get more impact, the thing to do would be to look at the construction industry and to see what linkages we can build between the construction industry and the local economy. Because the idea would be for every house that's built, you want to maximize the local production. For example, furnishings. You'd really want to improve the quality of locally made furniture. You'd want to try and you'd look at the whole house and you'd really try to capture through the local economy as much of the value chain in the construction industry. At the moment, what's happening is you want this, you know, if you've worked in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam or wherever for 20 years and you want this home is to be your dream home, you don't want to fill it with second-hand, second-rate products. And therefore you will import the tiles from Italy and the bathroom from this place, and that's what's happening. So, but if there are local, it comes down to this point of options again. This is all about fundamentally, you know, maximizing choice, maximizing options. So I think that is the thing to do, to make a distinction in our minds. And this is why I keep saying there's only a small segment of the migrants and diasporas who want to become development agents. And to be honest, if the thinking in your head is that everybody has to become a development agent for the country to develop, we will never get developed. And I don't think that's how Singapore and Malaysia developed. They didn't all become NGOs and, you know, start writing grant applications. If we are going to develop, we are going to have to build our productive capacity. The philanthropic side will deal with some of the, you know, the market failures, the social problems. We're not going to develop through philanthropy. No country has developed through philanthropy. Which country in Africa is going to develop through philanthropy? I really don't know. So we should really give a little bit of time to philanthropy and then have more time for the more serious business of development, which is about state building and it's about productive capacities as well as the social issues, basically. And if I was the minister or the civil servant, that's what I would be focusing on.
Is there anyone who would like to react to Guo, or you would like to introduce something to expound more your controversial statement that remittances should not be maybe a little bit of clarification?
I mean, I agree with Chuku with what he's saying. I don't think we are disagreeing. I mean, my point is that from a basic perspective, you cannot give priority to remittances and the MDGs as forms equating. You have to decide whether you want to focus on remittances and development or the MDGs and something else. I say something else in this particular case should be migrant associations. But if we want to talk about remittances and development, I completely agree with Chuko. I think asset building strategies are the way to transform development through remittances by increasing savings and investment opportunities, and in doing so you mobilize that into the productive base of the local economy. And once you do that, you tackle, I also don't think that that's going to be enough. And it's an issue that we also have agreed on, that the responsibility of development cannot be left on to migrants and migrant organizations, because the challenges are far greater than those that migrants can take care of, starting with the fact that they have to do more with the current state of the global economy. So we need to look at the inequities of the global economy and problematize that as migrants living in other countries, you have to problematize the conditions by which economic relations take place. And that's an issue that, you know, is seldom addressed. So, you know, that's more or less, you know, the type of approach that I'd like to take.
Okay, I just want to say, I think remittances could be an alternative to aid. But for that to happen, a government in the developing country has to formulate a relationship, a social contract with the migrant diaspora community who are sending the money. And then it has to have a strategy which is different to the conditionality that is currently involved in aid. So you basically use the diaspora migrant money, and not just the money, but the know-how to pursue a development strategy that is more autonomous than you can achieve by using loans and grants from the international system generally. But very few countries are in a position to do so. And that's the way that you could look at remittances as an alternative, you know, but not really looking at it the way it is now.
May I just comment on that? I think I understand the point, but maybe the wording. And I'm going to say why I'm careful, because I've personally heard on Capitol Hill people making the mistake of comparing remittances and aid. And you do not want to make the mistake of, okay, more remittances, 50 billion going from the US, why should we send aid to Africa? And humans make that simple mistake, and when you have the power to make change, have things change, and you make that mistake, millions suffer from it. So again, I would say aid is different to remittances. Migrants' capital, and I think I totally agree that involve the diaspora and the migrant organizations in the aid factor, or substitute as the source maybe of fund, but in the concept of aid, I think yes, it's been happening. I mean, Mexico is the leading expert, I would say, almost on this. But definitely that could be created. But again, it should be changed. We use remittances because what we mean by remittances is the money that migrants have. No, it's migrant money that sent to grandmother or grandfather or father for a specific purpose. Migrant capital, it's another thing, and the willingness to actually be proactive in the development of their country is also something else. It exists, it coexists, but just again, I just want to make that distinction because it's very important not